What's up, guys? I'm diving in today to the biggest lessons I've learned, five specifically, from launching my own personal brand and being more intentional about driving awareness of what I'm doing these days and how our company can service people. I'm diving into the five lessons I've learned looking back over the last 6 months. So if you're somebody that's new to the game, you're basically trying to get out there more. I always say that it's one thing to coach people, teach people this stuff, but it's another thing to do it yourself. It ultimately helps you be a better strategist, see the kind of intricacies of what's working and what isn't. So that's what I'm going to dive into today. Now, before we get in, I have to remind you, please do all the likes, the subscribes, the shares, all the things that help us reach more people on this platform. So with that being said, as most of you know, if you followed my journey at all, I was a little bit insecure, if I'm being totally honest with you, about this idea of starting to shift more focus and energy towards getting out there more. This was a journey that over the course of Brand Builders Group, since we founded it in 2018, which as of the recording of this video has been about 4 years ago. My role has primarily been on the back end of the business, helping to set up systems, processes, doing a lot of delivery with clients, helping them, drive awareness of them as an expert in their space and use that to drive traffic and growth of their business, i.e. building their personal brand. So bottom line is I've been working a ton with clients. I've been setting systems in place, processes, procedures, et cetera, to help us just scale up the business. So naturally, I have not been in a position of being forward facing and getting out there and driving new business and new traffic to the company. But naturally, as every business grows and evolves, that you get the right people in place, the right systems in place on the back end, you can start shifting people around, getting people in different seats that's best for them to thrive and based on what the company needs at that stage of growth. And so that's what happened. It happened a little bit this year. As I was in a position fortunate to shift into a forward-facing role, and naturally we're going to practice what we preach, right? We're going to say, hey, how do we take the great results that I've been able to generate, not only for myself over my career, but for the clients I've been working with within Brand Builders Group, and how do we now round out what we call the other half of the reputation formula? We know that results times reach equals your reputation. And there's a lot of people that have great results and they don't have much reach. There's not many people that know about them as being experts in their space that can really take care of them and solve great problems for them. And that's unfortunate because they're not able to have the impact they're able to have on people and ultimately use that awareness to drive traffic back into their business and drive growth. So this pivot for me has been, all right, cool. Like I've been focused on results the last 4 years. Now I'm shifting into how do I start putting more energy and focus on reach so that I can have a big reputation in the industry as somebody that's an expert at this personal branding stuff. So all this started loosely middle of 2020, kind of this knowing that I was going to be shifting into this more forward-facing role. And so basically what happened, there was a couple, month or two behind the scenes of just kind of getting my own positioning tight and all these, different things that we help clients do. So, but ultimately, kind of in the latter part of Q3 and definitely into Q4, I was starting to get out there. And so looking back on, roughly 6 months, maybe 5 months of doing this, right, of trying to build my reach and my awareness of me as a trusted expert in my space, I wanted to just share, what am I seeing, the good, the bad of what I've seen over these first few months of doing this. So key number one, big finding, kind of realization number one, is that consistency is key, right? There's all this saying of like content is king, but you almost could think about it as consistency is king. And I say that because, naturally one of the things I started doing early on was pushing out value add content on all the social platforms, and just to drive brand awareness of what I'm doing, deliver value to my current network, and then hopefully use that consistency to to gradually attract more people that are interested in me and my platform grows, etc. Right. But I'll tell you, just it's not easy, for one, right? Like putting in the work of creating value add content, posting it on multiple platforms, formatting it on those platforms to be optimized for organic reach, right? It's not easy. So you got to be willing to put in the work, but you got to understand that the reason you're putting in the work is that consistency is key. If you want to have any chance of breaking through the noise out there and the algorithm starting to work for you, you got to show up on a regular basis with your content. And it's a slow build, it's a slow grind, but it is fundamental if you want to kind of break through the noise and ultimately start seeing some of the exciting inbound growth and results that can happen from being kind of consistent online and consistent on social. So don't expect results quickly, but just know that consistency is key, or consistency is king, in other words. But that's a key thing you need to understand: is grind through it, do it for a reason, because you know that is a fundamental element of being successful out there with your content marketing and really your inbound strategy. Okay. And there's been other posts that we've done on what to put out, etc. Right. That's not the focus of today, but I'll just tell you, like, I can pretty consistently see that if I'm posting regularly, and that's a big if, because I'm not always consistent as I need to be, but if I'm posting consistently, I'll see, new followers, more engagement, right? Like all that stuff, but it doesn't come posting once a week, once a month, whatever, right? You gotta post regularly. And so regularly for me would be, daily on the platforms I'm on, and I'm working to try to get in a rhythm of that and surround myself with the right people to help me dial that in and be more consistent with it. But the bottom line is you got to show up regularly. And the other thing I would say in this context is I started off, showing up on several platforms. So I was post my, long form content as a newsletter on LinkedIn, would take the video, this full length video, post it out on YouTube, right? Take micro kind of subsets of that content, push it out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, also Twitter and TikTok, right? So I was kind of across all those 5 platforms, and pretty quickly realized that, one, it's a lot, and two, I need to focus a little bit more. I need to, kind of take our own advice and really narrow down and not try to show up on so many platforms initially, even though there's this appeal, right? It's like, oh man, like people are saying they're getting tons of organic reach on TikTok. I need to be there. I ultimately just felt through doing it to be as consistent as I needed to be and see better results. I needed to kind of do fewer platforms and go deeper and really kind of customize and tailor my content to get better organic results on fewer platforms. So I'll still post, once a week on Twitter, just like, hey, here's the link to the latest article on LinkedIn. But really, Instagram is where I'm going all in, and LinkedIn is where I'm going all in. I'm not even really posting on TikTok anymore. I just wasn't seeing the engagement and the results. And some of that's probably because I was not optimizing my content for that platform. But at the end of the day, I ultimately said that, hey, Instagram, LinkedIn, those are the platforms where I've already got some traction. People kind of know me for this type of stuff. I'm going to just optimize for those. And obviously, as your team grows and you have more bandwidth to kind of show up in the right way on more platforms, you can expand. But I was tempted by, kind of the opportunity for viral growth per se on some of these platforms, and showed up, but just ultimately had to scale it back to be realistic. So be consistent and only, bite off what you can chew, frankly. So if you need to kind of go with fewer to really do it right and see better results versus kind of like half-assing it on multiple platforms, then that may be what you need to do. That was my experience, at least. The second thing I'll tell you, a big key kind of aha for me was, don't expect to see a ton of social kind of growth, like followers. Don't expect to see your platform on these different social, platforms grow significantly, right? Organic reach, true organic reach is hard. Like you know, if you're consistent though, that's where you may get those content pieces that pop and go viral, and you can see some big spikes. We had a client that just had a reel on Instagram kind of go viral, and up to like 60,000 followers with without a ton of time put in. So it can happen, but the bottom line is you got to be consistent. You got to show up. Maybe you'll hit that kind of that right content piece that goes crazy. Otherwise, just know it's going to be a slow build. Don't get discouraged by that. My numbers have been, frankly, not very exciting. But what I will say is, don't expect a lot of growth, but do expect results. And what's been really cool is that while I haven't seen thousands and thousands of new followers, right, like my platform, there are people that were already in my network that started seeing me show up more often, started seeing me post content that was more in alignment with what I'm doing now. And it was value-based content. It wasn't a big sales pitch all the time. And that awareness for people that were already kind of in my network led to new clients, new introductions to strategic affiliates that have already driven new clients from that. So again, don't expect big growth, maybe organically in your numbers of followers, but do expect some results, right? Which is what this is all about. We're doing it so more people know about you, think of you as being good at what you're doing, and then that leads to people buying or referring people that will buy whatever it is you're selling, right? So don't expect a ton of numbers of growth, but do expect results. And that's exciting. I was super excited about that. Like, that made me feel like, okay, cool. Like, this content marketing, social stuff's actually working, right? It may not be getting tons of likes and comments, but I am getting some clients out of it, which is actually what's more important. So that was the next big kind of aha moment looking back on the last 6 months. So number 3 is you have to work your network. And at the end of the day, this is what we tell our clients, and me doing it myself, it's just becoming more and more clear that, yeah, do the inbound, do the content marketing, do that stuff. But where you're going to see the biggest growth in the shortest period of time is working your network, your closest relationships. And it's not that you're reaching out to them and trying to sell them a bunch of stuff, but it's simply just making them aware of what you're doing now. Hey, like, maybe you hadn't heard from me in a while, or hey, I've shifted into this new role in my position, like in the business, and want to just make sure you knew what I was doing. And is there anything I can help you with? Like, hey, I'm looking to get introduced to people like this, to just deliver free value add, presentations, to do free strategy calls, whatever it may be. There's different asks, obviously, be on their podcast, whatever. But simply working your network, inventorying it and working your network, doing those outbound reaches, that's fundamental to just get the word out there more about what you're doing. And hopefully those close relationships open up new relationships to deliver value to bigger audiences, doing webinars or being on podcasts, or maybe just one-on-one conversations of people that maybe could use your help. And those are new clients. Right. So bottom line is, in addition to the inbound content marketing, all that stuff, that's great. You got to be doing the outbound and working your network. The 4th key thing here is, as you do all of this, right, it's become more and more clear that it cannot be all about you. It's not all about, hey, I'm in a more biz dev focused role now. I'm trying to get out, talk and sell people, like, hey, can I sell you? Like, whatever. It's not all about you. All of this has to be grounded in service, right? So I'm trying to go out and just deliver value. Like, hey, I want to make sure you know what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to go out and share value add information with people in the hopes that it'll help them. Like, I know it'll help them, and I'm not selling anything. I'm just delivering free content. So if that's on somebody else's podcast, or doing a webinar to somebody else's audience, speaking in person for free, like whatever it may be, or a direct introduction to somebody that wants to do a free, strategy call, right? Whatever it may be. I'm just trying to serve. I'm just trying to deliver value for free. And also, hey, what can I help you with? Right? Like, and you really want to lead with that before you ask them to do anything for you. But as you're checking in with people, as you're working your network, I want to check in. I want to see how you are. Honestly, I want to help you if there's anything I can help you with. And also, I would so appreciate if you could help me simply share value add free content with anybody you think might benefit from it. Right. So it's not salesy at all. It's service centered service, mindset. So can't be all about you. If you take that energy into it, you take that script, that messaging into it, it's going to be a harder road. And then the fifth and final thing that's become, even more clear to me over this first kind of 6 month period is that you have to have your presentation and your pitch really tight. As I mentioned just then, a lot of these asks, right, as you go out and work your network and try to get in front of other people's audiences to be able to drive traffic quicker and do it through a transfer of trust that they've already gained with their audience, right? You're going to be asking for opportunities to come deliver free value add content. Okay. And so that is a presentation, right? Call it a webinar, call it whatever, call it being interviewed on somebody's podcast. But you have got to know, if you get the opportunity to deliver a message, right, in front of a bunch of your ideal clients, what in the world are you going to say? Because if you cannot capitalize on those opportunities, you're going to have a hard time getting people to take that next step, whatever that is, probably scheduling a call with you. And things break down really quickly. And also the person that introduced you, like, oh, that wasn't that great. Like, I don't, you made me look bad or whatever. So before you go to market with all this, you got to figure out, what is that presentation? What's that content you're going to deliver for free that's super valuable, super helpful, and then create that opportunity on the back end for people to take the next step with you, whatever that may look like. So have that presentation really tight so you can capitalize on those opportunities as you get them. And then also, as you get people on the phone, you have to have your pitch, right? Your script really tight if you want to actually be able to convert people in to whatever it is you're selling. So your presentation has to be tight. Your pitch, your kind of script for how you kind of take people through the sales process on those calls has to be tight. And so if you understand the role of inbound and outbound, you're effectively working both of those. You have a service kind of centered mindset to all of it, and you're able to fully capitalize on those opportunities, whether they're one-on-one calls and or delivering presentations to a lot of people, then you're going to get traction, right? I'm getting early traction. It's not like things have gone viral and it's crazy, but the reality is, a lot of this the early day stuff is laying the foundation. Sometimes you don't want things to go viral too soon, because the wheels will fall off everything, especially if it's a small business that don't have a ton of people to service. So laying the foundation, being consistent with it, and then obviously going to be turning up the volume as you get wins, you get traction, you get introduced to more and more people. That leads to more and more introductions, more presentations. Things can really just take off even more. But those are the 5 key things. Consistency is key or king. Don't expect explosive social growth, but do expect results, right, from people that are likely already following you, but maybe just haven't seen or heard much from you in a little bit, don't know what you're doing. Number 3, you got to work your network, do the outbound in addition to the inbound. It can't be all about you as number 4. You got to have that service-centered mindset. I'm just sharing value-add content, and I am wondering how I can help you too. And then number 5, make sure you can capitalize on those opportunities as they pop up. Otherwise, you've kind of done all that for nothing. But obviously, it takes reps to get things tight. So don't expect it to be perfect right out of the gate. So hopefully that was helpful, guys. Again, would appreciate, like, share, subscribe, do all the things to help us reach more people if this was valuable to you. And until next time, we'll see you on YouTube.